All right, to watch this video for Wednesday, August 29th. SPY again, new record highs today. Very strong market, very thin market. I've been saying this, but we're still finding some pretty good stuff to trade. Here's what I'm watching for Wednesday. GERN, we had it on watch coming into today because it had the big pop, then the inside day, and I said we'll see if it gives us an intraday setup. And you see that big pop today? It did. I actually called this long and chat at 506 with a 4.99 stop, so only 7 cents risk. And if you follow me at all, you know I'm all about entering at that moment where you should be green right away and have a very low risk stop. I'm going to show you why I called it there. All right, so I liked the setup. This was like 5-minute candles right there, about what, from 30 minutes in? 6 or 7 candles, 30 or 35 minutes in. And you can see the entire range for today, at that point, was trading inside of yesterday's range, which was between here and here. So you had the big day, the kind of quiet inside day that I talked about in last night's video. And then the open, there's no setup. I never take anything right out of the gate. Anyone that calls the stock right at the open, they're just teaching you to flip a coin, and it's not a good practice. I always like to... I tweeted today, if you can't give at least 2 or 3 reasons, something I'm paraphrasing here, why you're getting into a trade at that moment, don't take the trade. And that's the one thing. I'm not always right, but the one thing I can say is if I call a trade, I can give you at least 2 or 3 reasons why. And none of them are, I had a gut feeling, or none of them are because so-and-so called it. When I say I can give you 2 or 3 reasons why, it's based on the chart, right, and recent action and so on. So I'll walk you through GERN, and then we'll go through the rest of the list today. But GERN, opening 5-minute candle. We never take that. And if you had taken it thinking, oh, look, we're going to break yesterday's high, just like that, it takes out the low of day. You get a lot of craziness in the opening, 15, 20 minutes or so. So then it comes up and puts in a pretty clear lower high at 505, goes back down, still on a chart, still watching it. But now my thinking is if we take out that lower high, 505, in other words, 506, we're only... let's see, 512 was the high of day. So we're only 7 cents from lighting up the new highs ticker. We're only 7 cents from all the shorts from today and yesterday being wrong, and you had that big move 2 sessions ago. So a good chance that people say, oh, here goes GERN again, right? And the stop was so tight, 4.99. So there's the trigger, 506. Stop goes at 4.99. We're looking for a pretty quick move through the high of day, so we light up that new high of day ticker. Look at the volume that comes in when that happens. And next thing you know, flags for a little bit, but it ended up being just off to the races and almost taking out the highs from that big day a few sessions ago. So on 7, and I can actually bring this over. I kind of did a drawing of it earlier that I tweeted just to show you the reasons for the call. Again, one reason, we had a stock in play. 2, we're breaking a lower high right here with another catalyst just above, meaning the high of day. Now, a high of day break is not a catalyst on any given stock, right? But on a stock that 2 sessions ago just ripped, then it does become a catalyst, right? That's where shorts are generally going to cover. So there's right there 3 reasons. In play stock, breaking a lower high with another catalyst just above, right? And it worked out, it gave like 10R as far as risk goes, right? Risking, 7 cents? All right, anyway, so let's go back to the daily. It goes back on watch for tomorrow because you had this big pop inside day, and now we're kind of near the 3-day high. It's extended now. It's far away from the moving averages, but absolutely still want to watch that, all right? CHFS, you got to zoom in a little bit so we can see why in the heck I'm calling this thing. It did have decent volume 4 sessions ago. That topped out at 133, and now you're kind of flagging here. It's a really beaten up stock, so maybe if you break this flag, maybe it does come up and and maybe touch this $1.50 or even more. So it's kind of an obscure chart, but I happened to notice it today, so I threw it on watch. UAVS, another one. Nice volume spike today, but it's worth noting that that volume spike, still only 360,000 shares to show you how thin this is, but it's got really nice long support here for a long time. Tried to pop out of it a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and then today a pretty strong close. So I like it over today's high, which would be over 210. You look to the left and you say, well, then 220, over 220, you've kind of got breakout territory. All right, so I'm going to write in my notes 211 and 221 as potential catalysts. All right, GEVO was on watch today. and GEVO had this nice pop back here, topping out at 412. Then the next day it hit 411. So I really like it over this flag, right? 413. And it ended up today near the end of the day hitting that area, and I'll show you what happened. So, well, actually, it went red to green right here and then just chopped around. You can see whenever there's gaps between 5-minute candles, you know it's a thin market or a thin stock or a combination thereof, right? You did get, look at the volume that came in when this finally broke and then broke that flag on the daily briefly before doing this. So this right here tells me, and I got called away, by the way, after the morning. So I only took 2 trades this morning and then I was done for the day. I thought I would be back in an hour or two and ended up being gone till after the close. You know, life happens sometimes. So I didn't get involved in this. I'd like to think I might have got a scalp on some of it, right? And then a break-even stop on the rest, but who knows? I wasn't there to watch it trade. Let me think. So, you know, it did have really nice volume as it broke that flag. When I see this kind of action, though, you have a nice breakout, and maybe it's just thin summer action, but and then it comes right back in. It kind of gives me a little bit of little reservations about this stock. Doesn't mean I should, but I'm going to watch it again tomorrow. Again, when you break a flag like that and you get volume and you don't really follow through, that always gives me pause about a stock. But we'll throw it on watch again tomorrow and see if we get a clean setup. IDRA, a nice inside day today. This was on watch coming into today. And again, I kind of like it over this high back here was 1024. Then it hit 1021, and today it hit 1018. So certainly over 1018 might be enough to just maybe rip it higher. I'll put 1019 in my notes. All right, and then PTIE, type that wrong, do that every time. It's kind of curling up here. Again, an obscure play because you had the huge move back here, and then next thing you know, everyone who bought it long that day is underwater, right? So this has a lot of people, I would guess, hurting. And I don't mean that it's not funny, but I mean it's a funny way to put it. That's why it bothers me. That's why I'm a little reserved about putting this on the list. But at the same time, you also have a whole lot of new participants after this gap down that never even knew this stock existed. So not everybody involved is underwater, and you kind of have, after the gap down, you have this big island down here. Well, it's kind of a big, long cup and handle. I'm showing you 15-minute candles here. So I still think this might break this flag and then maybe break up into that gap, which looks to be over like 110. So anyway, long story short, I'm going to put that one on the watch list for tomorrow. NEPT. And I'll tell you why this is on watch. The pot stocks are really strong, and then they've come in for a couple days. And this one is not a great trader. But the thing that's interesting to me is, you know, it's one of the pot stocks, and it's had a nice run. And then today, while pot stocks were selling off, this held up pretty well. And I like the fact that it topped out right at 4. I love whole number breaks. If you follow day trader Wayne, he loves whole number breaks. And if this gets over 4, I look to the left and say, hey, there's another catalyst just above, 407 or 408, right? A break of this high. Couple that with the fact that TLRY reported after hours today, right? So you talk about extended. This is another pot stock that's so far away from the moving averages. You know, you look at these and say, of course they need to come in, right? And then in after hours, it's after hours sessions almost closed. I think it hit $60 in after hours, maybe even a little more. I'm going to try to pan out here and see. I think it topped out right around 60. I'm showing 59.76 right now. So the high of this candle, 58.68. So if it's set to open all the way up here and it's a relatively new issue, that might ignite all of these things again, right? So that's why I've chosen to watch a couple pot stocks. NEPT, I feel like that TLRY is going to be really crowded with the actual stock having news. So I watch NEPT and CRON, which, by the way, might have some shorts caught, right? Because rolling over, and all of a sudden TLRY has that big move. So this one topped out today at 12.16, and in after hours it's trading at 12.33 right now. So everyone that said I knew these things were extended, and everyone who's carrying this short overnight might be in trouble tomorrow. So that one's on watch too. And then a few more here. RWLK, still just in a tight range, not much volume, but I've had it on watch for so many days in a row that until it rolls over or breaks out, I'm just going to keep watching it. I'm invested in it that much now, right? SSC, I don't know what to do with this thing, but it had such crazy action. and a big 2 red days now, but after this gap up and sell off, next thing you know, it's ripping to new recent highs, and now you've got 2 big red days. So I don't look at this chart and say, oh man, I want it right here at this price, or at this price, or if it gets to X, Y, Z. I don't know. I'm going to watch it trade tomorrow and see if it gives me a low risk setup like that one I showed you in GERN today, right? That's how I make. A lot of people don't understand this. I've seen people, traders say that, I've literally seen traders say the entry isn't that important, it's how you manage the trade. I'll take the other side of that argument, and I've been doing this a long time, and I'll say that if you learn to enter properly, so you should be green right away, right after you take the trade, because you're looking for inflection points with catalysts above on a recent passionate mover, right? A stock that's in play, and you find a low risk entry like that GERN today, guess what? You're never underwater in the trade. Now, I'm not suggesting every call I make is never underwater, right? But that, even when I call something and it moves up a little and doesn't work and comes right back down, that's telling me something too. That's telling me my thesis that I had for this stock, these dominoes that were supposed to start falling, they're not. That's a warning signal that, hey, you were wrong. So I can get back out really, really tight, right? Really small loss. And when I'm right, I'm green right away, and I can just manage the trade then. So I would contend that the entry, learning to enter properly, learning what stocks to watch, and then what to look for on an intraday basis, and how to trade after that. If you can be green right away on a trade, you take a lot of the other problems that ruins trading careers out of the equation, right? If you're buying a pullback into the 5-minute 20 period moving average, which is I'm interested at that level on a pullback, right? But I'm not taking that with size. Well, what happens is if it just keeps falling and someone's taught you to buy at the 20 period moving average using 5-minute candles on a strong stock and it pulls back and it just keeps falling, most traders, especially if you're newer, you might say to yourself, well, crap, I'm not going to take a loss, so I'll just average down some more. I'm already buying a pullback on a strong stock, so I'm just going to keep buying more and improve my average pricing. That's a strategy some people use, but that's what gets people in trouble too. I prefer to pick entries that, are breaking resistance and should be green and have dominoes that can fall. In other words, stacked catalysts above, so I can be green right away and scale out into that strength. It takes a lot of the other problems that many traders face out of the equation. So that's kind of what I'm all about. If you want to check out down below, there's some special offers on the chat room right now. And I think you'll learn something totally different than maybe what you've been taught. But for me, and just get this in your brain, think about it. If your entry is right and you're green right away, doesn't that take a lot of the other problems from day trading out of the equation? So I'm a big fan of teaching people how to enter right. I've babbled longer than I meant to, so I'm gonna stop now. Oh no, I'm not. I got one more stock to talk about. AFMD, massive move today on really good news. Closed strong, 37 million shares traded. So it's not like I say, here's where I want it tomorrow. This is another scenario where we'll watch it trade and see if it gives a low risk setup. All right, now I'm done babbling. See y'all tomorrow.